A quiet farmhouse, strict rules, and a prince living in silence. Then, without warning, a powerful visitor arrives, sent from the very top. No cameras, no words. Just a long, private meeting that changes everything. Why now, and what was said behind those closed doors that no one is meant to hear? Stay with us to find out. The edge of everything. Wood Farm Cottage is located on the border of the Sandringham estate in Norfolk, secluded by peaceful countryside and dense forests. Unlike the extravagant mansions usually associated with royalty, this cottage is modest and unassuming. It exudes a sense of tranquility and isolation, making it seem more like a humble farmhouse belonging to a renowned estate rather than a grand palace. The Windsor family has a rich history tied to the house, which was selected by Prince Philip as his retreat from public life. Seeking solitude and tranquility, he valued the simplicity and peacefulness of Wood Farm. By moving away from his demanding schedule and the public eye, he embraced a slower pace of living in his later years. Surrounded by quietness, the house now holds sentimental value for the family. Beyond being just a physical structure, it is a repository of cherished memories. Andrew experienced a stark contrast upon his arrival at Wood Farm. He had spent numerous hours in police custody at Alnwick Police Station before making his way there. To add to the complexity of the situation, it was also his 66th birthday when he departed from the station. Observers noted how he sat low in the back of the car, attempting to remain unnoticed as it drove off. This quiet instance, where a prince sought refuge from the public eye on his special day following a challenging ordeal, creates a vivid depiction. Despite the absence of photographic evidence, the mental image carries significant weight and authenticity. Upon arriving at Wood Farm, a transformation occurred. Instantly, he became invisible to the public eye. This drastic change was surprising for someone who had been so prominent in society. In the past, Andrew was always in the spotlight. His schedule was jam-packed with responsibilities and social gatherings. He had a full staff, a grand residence at Royal Lodge in Windsor Great Park, and was always surrounded by influence and admiration. He frequently traveled, mingled with influential figures, and led a lifestyle that was envied by many. But now, all that is gone. So what rules were set by the king about the Sandringham estate? Let's find out. The boundaries set around Andrew's life. Andrew's life at Sandringham is now enveloped by a calm yet resolute framework. According to sources like the newspaper and other British media, King Charles has imposed strict conditions on him. These are not mere recommendations or casual family counsel, but rather strict and unwavering directives that dictate Andrew's daily activities as the police inquiry into him carries on. The image that emerges portrays a sense of precise management. Each aspect of his daily schedule appears to be directed, restricted, and monitored. This type of existence would likely feel constricting and burdensome to the average person. However, to a man who was once accustomed to navigating the world freely, it is particularly noticeable. One rule that stands out is related to horseback riding. Andrew received instructions against riding within the premises of Sandringham Estate. Initially, this restriction may appear insignificant or trivial. However, for Andrew, it holds greater significance. Riding horses was not merely a pastime for him, it formed an integral part of his lifestyle. It was a routine activity that defined him, and was a visible aspect of his public persona. Currently, the opportunity to engage in that straightforward action has been temporarily revoked. This choice signifies a more profound meaning. It indicates that his ability to control his public perception has been relinquished. Every action, every instance observed by others, impacts the reputation of the royal establishment. And the establishment has determined that now is not the appropriate time for such exposure. Even a seemingly peaceful activity like horseback riding could convey an inappropriate message amidst a significant inquiry. Therefore, it has been prohibited. Andrew is highly restricted when it comes to leaving the estate, with reports indicating that he is required to obtain permission before going beyond Sandringham. Furthermore, if he does manage to leave, he is not allowed to do so by himself and must have someone accompany him. This requirement is particularly striking, considering Andrew's age and past experiences traveling as a royal figure. The fact that he now needs approval just to step away from the estate highlights the extent of the rule's impact on his freedom of movement. The idea behind this is straightforward yet impactful. He is now constrained in his freedom. Regardless of whether this is justified for reasons of security, public perception, or official protocol, the outcome remains unchanged. His actions are no longer autonomous. Every movement must be carefully considered. Every excursion must be approved. Every trip must be monitored. His control extends beyond his own actions, influencing those in his vicinity. Those wishing to go to Wood Farm must obtain permission beforehand. Spontaneous visits are prohibited, as all visitors must be pre-approved. The number of people entering is closely monitored and controlled. Each person's identity is verified, and all visits are carefully organized in advance. He is surrounded by a peaceful atmosphere that also feels restrictive. This isolation creates distance from others and minimizes external pressures. The tight control over his environment ensures a small, carefully selected circle of influence. Each interaction, no matter how brief, holds significance in this environment. The visit by Richard Benyon is particularly striking for this reason. He did not just show up by chance. His presence was intentional and organized. There was a clear purpose behind his visit. Richard Benyon is in a significant position as the Lord Chamberlain, where he plays a practical role rather than just a symbolic one. He functions as the chief of the royal household, managing a complex system that ensures the monarchy operates efficiently. His responsibilities span across various aspects of the institution, from daily activities to ceremonial obligations. He acts as a bridge connecting the king and the House of Lords, conveying the monarch's authoritative direction on important matters. His appearances are reserved for significant matters, indicating the careful and serious handling of important issues. When he devoted multiple hours to Wood Farm, it sparked silent inquiries. What warranted this amount of time and focus? What demanded the presence of an esteemed individual like him? Several potential scenarios exist. It is possible that the conversation revolved around Andrew's upcoming change in residence. Speculation has arisen regarding his potential relocation from Wood Farm to Marsh Farm within the Sandringham estate. If such a transition is indeed in the works, it would require thorough explanation. Clear expectations would need to be established. An authoritative individual would be best suited to convey this information in a formal and straightforward manner. One more option to consider is Andrew's ties to the broader royal family. Issues regarding personnel, assistance, and funding are complex and go beyond surface level. These matters are intertwined with established regulations and meticulous customs. Additionally, they are linked to legal and societal considerations. Addressing these issues should not be taken lightly. They call for an individual with substantial expertise and a comprehensive grasp of the situation. Another option to consider is the potential for heightened sensitivity. The visit could have entailed conversations regarding the current circumstances. The inquiry, external scrutiny, and importance of cautious conduct are all factors to be considered. If there are specific anticipations regarding Andrew's conduct, speech, or silence, they should be communicated clearly. The messages should be assertive yet composed, lacking any ambiguity. While the specific contents of the meeting remain undisclosed, the underlying message is evident. The matter is being addressed by top officials and is not being left to random chance. It is not being dealt with informally, but rather through the formal hierarchy of the royal family. So close, yet so far apart. The most intriguing aspect that provoked contemplation was not the actual visit, but rather a subtle, almost imperceptible element. The absence of certain events leading up to the visit carried more weight than the visit itself. In certain circumstances, silence conveys more than activity, and distance communicates more than verbal expression. King Charles was in residence at Sandringham. He came on a Friday and enjoyed some serene days at his Norfolk property. The environment was tranquil, featuring expansive fields, trees, and serene roads extending throughout the property. It was a location where the pace of life decelerates, allowing for the observation of small, insignificant moments. The king was spotted cruising down the estate roads on Saturday. It appeared to be an ordinary occurrence at first glance. However, one particular aspect caught the attention of onlookers. His vehicle was headed towards Wood Farm, a serene farmhouse located a short distance away, approximately 2 miles from the main residence. The drive to reach the destination seemed short and effortless, taking only a few minutes to traverse. However, The vehicle continued to move without slowing down. It refused to stop. It refused to slow down. It persisted in its journey. Making that minor decision had significance. It wasn't flashy or extravagant, but it communicated a distinct message. His brother was not visited by the king. The following day ushered in a new, uncomplicated experience. King Charles strolled to the customary church service at St. Mary Magdalene Church on Sunday morning. This was a usual ritual for him during his time at Sandringham. He made his way in clear sight, composed and unwavering, exchanging greetings with others as he went. He conversed warmly with employees and estate workers. His demeanor exuded openness, relaxation, and effortlessness. However, Andrew was absent just a short distance of 2 miles. He skipped the event and avoided being seen with his brother by staying at Wood Farm, away from the public's view. 2 siblings spent a few days together at the estate. They were physically near each other, but emotionally distant. While the geographical distance was minimal, the emotional gap between them was significant. This occurrence was no random event. It was not mere happenstance. It carried an air of premeditation, caution, and secrecy. It seemed to convey a silent message that required no words. Jenny Bond, an ex-BBC reporter who has extensive knowledge about the current royal family, presented a well-thought-out perspective on the matter. She pointed out that the king likely organized the visit from Lord Chamberlain deliberately and not by chance. It was a calculated decision, not an impulsive one. In the royal household, there are several individuals who have the authority to represent the king. Communication can be facilitated through intermediaries. Situations can be resolved without the need for face-to-face interaction. However, the presence of the Lord Chamberlain signifies something significant. It indicates a higher level of protocol. It signifies that matters are being managed with precision and organization. Bond characterized the connection between the siblings as detached and proper. There is no visible disagreement. It is not characterized by noisy or passionate episodes. Rather, it is perceived as restrained and calm. Their interaction appears to have transitioned from personal to formal channels. It is now influenced more by procedures than by emotional bonds within the family. The dynamic between them seems to have evolved into a more organized and less intimate connection. This transition may seem subtle at first glance, but it runs deep. The dynamic shifts when a sibling is no longer just a casual visit, but a formal appointment. Although the connection remains, its manifestation has evolved into a different form. The space that separates them cannot be quantified in terms of physical distance, but rather in the absence of sound, in the decisions made, and in the opportunities missed. And so, the question quietly remains: is this distance shaped by a difficult time? Also, what brought this distance? Let's find out. A shadow that refuses to fade. At the core of it all, underneath the regulations, the peace of a simple existence, and the deliberate separation, lies a fundamental reality that impacts each instance. This reality fuels the scrutiny, drives transformation, and bears a burden that remains unrelenting. This marks the true commencement of the narrative. Last month, Andrew was apprehended on suspicion of committing improper conduct while in a public position. The specifics of the situation are not entirely disclosed. The legal proceedings are ongoing, leading to a lack of available information. One thing that is evident is that he was detained. He remained in custody for 11 hours before eventually being let go. Subsequently, the inquiry into the matter has persisted. No one has been accused of a crime. There hasn't been a guilty verdict. Yet, despite this lack of legal action, a substantial and enduring transformation has occurred. The picture speaks for itself. A member of the British royal family celebrating his 66th birthday in a police station. This moment exudes a strong presence without the need for further elaboration. It reshapes perceptions of him and forces a change in expectations. The royal family is now required to respond differently. The current timing has presented multiple obstacles for King Charles as he navigates various challenges simultaneously. Internal family tensions, fueled by ongoing problems with the Duke and Duchess of Sussex in California, add to his already complex situation. In addition, he must prioritize his health as he copes with a recent cancer diagnosis. These burdens weigh heavily on him. Incorporating a current police inquiry concerning his sibling only intensifies the strain. It transforms into a situation that requires serious attention. Each choice needs to be cautious. Each move must be calculated. The chosen direction is evident: strict guidelines, official detachment, meticulous supervision from top leadership. This strategy highlights a single priority: prioritize safeguarding the organization. There is a hidden price to this decision. It entails Andrew being managed as a case rather than being given individual attention. The priority lies in handling his situation rather than providing comfort. Putting the needs of the crown first means Andrew's needs are secondary. His emotions are pushed to the background, with stability, reputation, and control taking precedence. This prompts a straightforward yet profound inquiry. Is this just? He has not faced any convictions, but his life has already undergone significant transformations. This inquiry lies at the core of the functionality of the contemporary monarchy. Truth is both gentle and unyielding. The paramountcy of the institution is always upheld. This tradition has remained unchanged. All those associated with it are bound by this principle. Andrew's circumstances serve as a stark illustration of this truth. However, the inquiry is not the sole specter that trails him. Another narrative has significantly influenced his public persona for an extended period. This tale constantly resurfaces, persistently haunting him. Andrew has been associated with Jeffrey Epstein for a considerable period of time. This association did not originate from the arrest, but has been established for years, evolving into a significant and persistent issue. The bond, the photographs, and the media focus all contributed to a situation that could not be easily dismissed. A particular instance that remains memorable is the appearance on Newsnight. Expected to provide answers and clear up uncertainties, it actually generated more scrutiny and doubt. Rather than resolving issues, it ended up attracting even more focus and worries. This pivotal moment was the beginning of a notable decline in public approval. The narrative is still progressing, despite Epstein's death and the conclusion of legal proceedings in the U.S. There is a continuous stream of new information and materials emerging, such as court documents and records being gradually made public. Each new revelation has the potential to capture public interest. A subtle undercurrent of unease is generated. It is as though there is a constant anticipation of what could unfold next. A new piece of information, a fresh revelation, another significant development. People who closely observe the activities of the royal family are familiar with this sentiment. This is why the current strategy is very calculated. When the complete details of a situation are uncertain, the smartest choice is to keep some distance. This approach enables flexibility in reacting to unexpected developments. The distinction between Andrew and the rest of the royal family is evident for this reason. It doesn't just pertain to past events, but also to potential future occurrences. Every move is made cautiously. Each deed is carefully considered. The objective is to always be prepared for whatever may happen. This sort of separation might appear aloof, yet it has a function. It enables the palace to demonstrate effective management of the situation. It signifies the presence of well-defined limits. It simplifies the response to any unexpected developments. The current moment is constantly connected to what lies ahead. The decisions made at present are not temporary, but rather contribute to a broader vision that anticipates events in the upcoming future. A life of quiet waiting. In a cozy little cottage away from the hustle and bustle, a unique way of living is taking shape. Beyond the strict guidelines, the limited guests allowed, the need for supervision, and the restriction on horseback riding, there lies a man experiencing a period filled with weight and ambiguity. His surroundings have become more confined. During this time, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie have remained largely unseen. Their absence seems intentional and cautious. Although not overt, their decision to stay out of the public eye is evident. They are opting for a more reserved approach amidst the current circumstances. His previous partner, Sarah Ferguson, has also taken a step back. Previously, she had been by his side in unexpected ways, offering support when it was least expected. But now, she too prefers to stay out of the spotlight and avoid drawing attention. This has altered the environment surrounding him. It has shrunk in size, become more restrictive, and is now more regulated. There are less individuals present, with fewer opinions being voiced and decreased activity. This transformation holds significance, particularly for an individual such as Andrew. He has a reputation for being outgoing. Interacting with others has greatly influenced his life. A bustling schedule filled his days for a long time. His life was filled with activities, appointments, trips, and social occasions. The days were always eventful. People were constantly around him. He navigated through rooms buzzing with chatter, liveliness, and focus. That was his usual behavior. The difference is now obvious and bold. Rather than vast areas and hectic timetables, you will find a tranquil country house in Norfolk. In place of ceaseless commotion, there is peace. Rather than a crowd, you will encounter only a select few, meticulously handpicked and sanctioned. It feels like a movie scene. The man who was once surrounded by activity is now sitting peacefully in silence. This change goes beyond just the physical aspect. It also affects the way he goes about his days and what he thinks about. He has made waiting the focal point of his daily schedule. He is patiently anticipating progress in the investigation. He eagerly awaits new information, any indication of developments, and clarification of what lies ahead. He is also wondering about his future living arrangements, unsure if he will stay in his current location or relocate. The unanswered questions only serve to heighten his sense of unknown tranquility. Another type of waiting exists, one that is more intimate. He patiently anticipates the emergence of additional information, hoping for new revelations to surface. Each potential outcome carries a unique significance. After that, maybe the most challenging part of waiting comes when he gazes at the establishment and his loved ones. He anticipates receiving a signal or a distinct communication about where he could fit in the days ahead. He longs to comprehend whether there is a way ahead and if it is actually real. The question that still waits in silence. At the heart of all things lies a silent inquiry. Unspoken in formal royal discussions, this question remains unaddressed due to its complex nature. Each potential solution only leads to further complications, making it a topic avoided by those in authority. What will occur if the investigation concludes without any allegations being filed? There is a chance of this result occurring. Every arrest does not necessarily result in a trial. Upon thorough examination, it may be concluded that there is insufficient evidence to proceed. If this occurs, the situation will once again be altered. The question then becomes, how will it be different? Does Andrew venture into a world of increased freedom? Are the restrictions surrounding him starting to diminish? Is the cautious divide gradually disappearing? Will King Charles take that brief trip across the property and enter through the entrance of Wood Farm? These concepts may come across as straightforward, yet they hold profound significance. They delve into the core of past events. Despite not pressing charges, a change has already occurred. The recent events, including the arrest, the extended time in custody, the stringent regulations, the solitary existence, and the formal separation, have already had an impact. Andrew's perception has been altered. The way he is handled has been altered. His position within both his family and the larger establishment has been redefined. Is the query becoming more complex? If legal action does not lead to any consequences, does it really bring back what has been taken away? Or has the transformation reached a point of no return? The influence of a visual representation is significant as well. The image of him sitting quietly in the back of a car on his birthday has made a lasting impression on the public. While not flashy, it has a lasting impact. Such moments have the ability to influence a person's perception for an extended period of time. The institution may have already made changes in response to this. It could have silently acknowledged that things will not go back to the way they were previously. Despite the absence of a legal resolution, considerations of public perception and the protection of the crown may still influence every decision made. The reality is subtle yet ambiguous. It remains unknown to everyone. The monarchy, known for its cautious approach to challenging issues, is not expected to provide a definitive response until necessary. In various aspects, remaining silent is one of the ways it ensures its longevity. Currently, things are staying the same. The inquiry is progressing gradually, with more to uncover. Meanwhile, new information related to Jeffrey Epstein keeps emerging. With each new revelation, there is an opportunity for increased interest, fresh dialogue, and potential transformation. Andrew is still staying at Wood Farm. He abides by the same regulations. Guests are still permitted. His freedom to move around is still restricted. The horse he used to ride is now inaccessible. He spends his days patiently waiting in silence, unsure of what the future may bring. King Charles is still overseeing the situation from afar, relying on his advisors to maintain the stability of the system without getting too emotionally involved. This delicate equilibrium ensures the preservation of the monarchy while also preventing intimacy. The image is not set in stone. It has the potential to evolve over time. If accusations are made, the intensity and urgency of the situation will increase. It will transition into a different phase where a more forceful and noticeable reaction is required. Keeping quiet will become more challenging, and keeping a formal distance may no longer suffice. If the investigation concludes without any charges being filed, a new obstacle arises. The issue of what steps to take next would arise. Should Andrew be reintegrated into a more prominent position, or should the separation persist? These choices cannot be postponed indefinitely. New information is constantly emerging, adding to the ever-changing situation surrounding Epstein. With each new piece of material that comes to light, the narrative has the potential to take a different turn. A single new revelation has the power to completely alter the course of events in a short period of time. This ongoing uncertainty creates a sense of instability. If the storm passes, will the distance remain? Or will there be a moment when the space between them begins to close again? Let's find out. Why distance becomes the only choice. In order to comprehend King Charles's cautious approach, it is necessary to look beyond mere familial connections. The motivation behind each subtle choice must be examined. The reason behind why he avoids stopping within 2 miles of his brother and opts to send the Lord Chamberlain instead of contacting directly must be understood. The unyielding rules surrounding Wood Farm also shed light on his line of thinking. The issue at hand involves safeguarding the institution of the monarchy. The power of the monarchy is not solely derived from authority, but is also rooted in trust. Individuals have faith in it due to its consistent, equitable, and principled nature. This trust is delicate and may diminish if there is a perception of preferential treatment within the institution. Each step we take has significance. If a royal family member is seen as being given preferential treatment in a critical situation, it raises questions and implies that different standards apply within their circle. Even a simple act of public support can be misconstrued and appear to be favoritism rather than equality. King Charles has a clear understanding of this. He always considers this awareness when dealing with the monarchy. He wants a system that is more transparent, accountable, and aligned with what the public wants. He understands that the monarchy needs to evolve in order to survive in the future. It needs to demonstrate that it upholds the same values it symbolizes. In that perspective, risk is not welcomed. Standing too close to his brother during an ongoing investigation could disrupt the delicate equilibrium and lead to speculation, potentially undermining the foundation of trust that holds everything in place. Therefore, the decision becomes obvious, even though it may be challenging. Distance is more than just an individual choice. It also reflects the decisions made by organizations. Just because there are no overt emotions doesn't mean there are no underlying feelings. On a personal level, the situation is intricate. These siblings have been through a lot together since childhood, experiencing unique challenges and creating a connection that is strong and lasting. This bond between them is not easily broken. Andrew is currently experiencing a difficult phase in his life. There have been significant changes that have impacted him greatly. The calmness, restrictions, and unpredictability have all influenced his daily routine. And Charles has his own responsibilities to bear. He is tasked with safeguarding a long-standing institution. He must navigate through a period of heightened scrutiny and stress. He must find a way to juggle his personal relationships with his obligations to the public, fully aware that every decision he makes will be scrutinized and evaluated. It's not a simple situation. However, ultimately, the solution remains unchanged. The organization takes precedence over everything else. This rule has been constant and remains influential in every decision. Regardless of the individual sacrifice, the greater duty persists. The arrival of the Lord Chamberlain holds great significance for this reason. It had a serious tone and was full of protocol, lasting several hours with no public announcement or picture shared. It was a subdued, calculated meeting that was carefully orchestrated. This is the way the royalty reacts when confronted with a circumstance it is unable to eliminate or overlook.